Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Giselle and today I'm going to be talking about the Saw franchise, which I'm very excited about. More specifically, I'm going to be ranking all of the Saw movies from my least favorite to my most favorite. I'm also throwing in the Saw short film, Saw.5. So as a little bonus, you'll be hearing my thoughts on that. But yeah, I'm very excited to be talking about the Saw franchise because it has gotten me to fall back in love with horror. I used to be really into horror movies as a kid, but for some reason I just sort of fell out of it. I don't really know why. I don't think there's a specific reason. I just sort of stopped watching them. And I hadn't really been paying much attention to them over the past couple of years until I decided to watch Saw on a whim, the whole franchise, and I am so glad that I did because I now love horror. And I owe it all to my favorite little guy, Mr. Lee Winnell. Shout out to him. I love him. Also James Wan, of course. Sorry, there's like something on my wall. Anyways, just a couple of things right off the bat. I don't really know, number one, how often I'm going to be posting videos. It's probably just going to be very sporadic and random whenever I feel like rambling, because I love to yap. And then I'm not only going to be talking about horror movies lately, or like as of late. In the soon near future, I might be talking a lot about horror movies, but that's just because it's my current hyperfixation. Yes, my actual hyperfixation, not just a word I'm throwing around. I have lost sleep over watching horror movies just because I can't get myself to stop. But hey, what can you do? Anyways. The other thing is, as for like the other kinds of videos I want to make, it's mostly just going to be like this, where I sit down in front of the camera and just talk about whatever's on my mind, but I would eventually like to do videos about my journal, and just my hobbies or whatever I'm, working on at the moment. I was building a shark out of cardboard like 2 years ago, and I never finished that, and maybe if I do it on camera it'll encourage me to actually finish it. It's a goblin shark, in case you're curious. Anyways, I think that's all. This is just a pen, but I'm holding it so that my hands have something to do, something to hold on to. So yeah, if you were wondering, it's an apple pen, just like the song. And then also, I got lemon earrings on. I was not intending to be fruit themed today, but I am. I just felt like putting these on. I wanted to look just a little bit snazzy. So lemon earrings it is. Also, if you hear noise in the background, this is, I talk a lot, like a little bit too much. This is a very long intro, I'm sorry. If you hear noise in the background, it's my cat. And also it is daytime, but I have my lamp on because it's raining outside, so it's a bit cloudy, and the lighting was a little bit dim, so I decided to put my lamp on. And lastly, if I look to the side, it's because that's where my notes are on my laptop, and I will be reading off of them. But yeah, without further ado, let's get to my official ranking. Alright, so in the 10th slot, for my least favorite Saw movie, it is going to go to Spiral, The Book of Saw, or Saw 9. Just before we get into why, I'm going to preface by saying that I'm going to start with the cons and then go on to the pros, because I don't want to end on a negative note. These aren't like the worst, well, this might be one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but if you like them, no shade of course, these are just my opinions. Anyways, but starting with the cons, the worst thing about this movie is just how far away from feeling like a Saw movie it is. That was a weirdly worded sentence, I'm sorry, but it feels so far removed from the Saw franchise that it's just like not really enjoyable or easy to engage with, unfortunately. I was actually debating between putting this or Jigsaw in the last spot, but I decided to put this one in the last one just because of how, like I said, far removed it feels from the actual franchise. Unfortunately, it really didn't work for me. Number one, the traps, they were kind of lame. Like, I don't know, like, they were just a bit meh. Like, we have the one where one of the detectives, cops, I don't know, gets candle wax poured on her face, and it's just like, what am I watching right now? Yeah, I didn't like that one, and then I also didn't like the one where there's like glass bottles being shredded and like thrown at someone. I don't remember who's undergoing this trap, but I didn't like that one either, which is weird because like normally I find like the idea of stepping on glass or getting punctured with glass very terrifying, but for some reason this one just really didn't, make me squirm. That's how I tend to look at these traps. Like, the more it makes me like feel uncomfortable, the better trap I consider it to be. If I'm watching it and I'm just kind of like whatever, then it's not really a good trap to me. I know there's like a finger trap in this one. I low-key can't remember that one, but that one was also just kind of... And I was gonna say the tongue one is also not the best, but then I thought about it some more and I'm like, you know what? If I was hanging by my tongue, I would probably shit myself, so I'll give that one a little bit more credit. Next, the characters in this movie, I simply do not care for. I know nothing about Chris Rock other than I think he's a comedian. I haven't seen him in any other movie or anything, so this is not me saying he's a poor actor. I honestly don't even remember too much about this movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, so for all I know, it could have just been a script problem, but just like, I could not connect with his character. I was just so whatever about this movie. I was not into it, like, at all. It was a very tough viewing experience. Definitely not something that I would want to rewatch if I'm going through the franchise. I would probably avoid this movie because it really just gives nothing. So yeah. This has gone, like, on my mouth or in my mouth, like, twice now. Next thing is the puppet. They changed the puppet because it's like a whole new villain. It's a new Jigsaw. His voice, it sounds to me as if you went on TikTok and you used one of those like automated robotic voices. It just sounds very silly. What are we doing yet again? Like, please. And also, I just feel like, I don't know, it's so hard to top the original John Kramer voice. Like, he was literally the perfect guy. Tobin Bell was the perfect guy to cast for Jigsaw, and I just, it's too hard to replicate, and they really fumbled with this puppet voice. Next, the title of the movie. Let's start there. The very first thing that you learn about this movie, Spiral, the Book of Saw. So silly. What is a Book of Saw? I'm assuming the word spiral came from Billy, because he has, like, little spirals on his cheeks. But again, there's not even a Billy in this movie, so what are we doing? It's just very foolish, and I don't like it. What do we have? Let's see. Oh, last but not least, this is the last thing I have on my cons list. The twist. Very, very predictable, and I'm not the brightest bulb in the box. I will very openly admit that. And I saw it coming miles away. It was very obvious. You didn't show the guy's death. That's like automatic red flag. Obviously, he's still alive. Like, duh, that's the villain. Come on now. So yeah, that just like, I feel like the twists in the Saw franchise are like especially such like a pivotal like thing like of the series. That's like why so many people enjoy this franchise so much. is because they're so well known for having absolutely crazy twists. And this one was just predictable and very flat, unsatisfying. So that's the reason why this movie goes at the 10th place, last slot for my least favorite Saw movie. I have just a couple of pros. First of all, I did say that I hate the puppet's voice, but I don't hate the puppet's design. I don't know if this puppet has a name like Billy, but it's like a little pig in a like cop uniform, I believe. I like it. It serves the movie well, given that the whole theme, which is actually another pro that I have, being that we have a vigilante going after corrupt cops. Now, I'm really sad that I didn't like the movie because that to me is such an interesting premise. I'm always down for like, taking down the cop type movies or stories because it's so interesting, given how that is unfortunately how it's like in the real world. We have a lot of corrupt cops. The justice system is just severely fucked, especially in the United States. So it was a very cool premise, but it was just very poorly executed. So yeah, I like the little puppet and I like what they were going for, but it just completely missed the mark for me. So yeah, that is my thoughts on Saw 9. Alright, this next one should have been obvious. Jigsaw, Saw 8, because I just said that it was fighting for the last spot. Yeah, again, one of my biggest cons with this movie is the fact that it feels so far removed from the original franchise. And like, that timeline, the original timeline obviously ended, so we're gonna have to be doing something different, but it just doesn't hit the same or feel the same. This one does do a better job of seeming like it could exist in the world of Saw, but it still, just like I said, misses the mark for me. Is also very boring, and that to me is one of the worst things a movie can be. Boring. Because there's some bad movies, but like they're good in a bad way, This is just bad and boring. Another thing that I mentioned with Spiral, the twist in this is actually a pretty good twist. The fact that the deaths that we're seeing and the actual victims that end up in the coroner's office are from two different timelines. That's very cool. But once you already know what the twist is, like, rewatching it is just like whatever. And I feel like the other twists with the other movies are more gratifying. Like, if you go and rewatch them, obviously you know it's coming, but they still hit, they still grab you. This twist, not so much. And I've actually only seen this movie twice. I don't remember the first time I watched it, but I do remember being shocked at the twist. I was like 13, I think, or something, because this movie came out in 2018, I believe. So I was just a youngin', and I was very surprised. But then upon rewatch, whenever I was going through this franchise again, Jigsaw, prior to watching the Saw franchise, Jigsaw was the only movie I had ever seen, because it came out when I was young. But anyways, whenever I was going through the franchise and I got to Jigsaw, I had already known about the twist, and it just like, it didn't do anything for me now that I already knew about it. And I did get spoiled for some of the other Saw movies. I'm not just talking out of my butt, okay? I did get spoiled for Saw 3, I believe. And I still found it super shocking. Like I said, that twist grabbed at me, whereas the twist in this did nothing. Next, Logan. Crickets. Boring. Again, I don't care for him as an accomplice. He felt really random and like they just didn't know what to do, so they were like, let's make a random guy survivor the next Jigsaw. I mean, okay. I honestly don't even remember anything about him other than the fact that his name's Logan and he's a white man. That's it. What next? Oh, the redhead. The redhead. I don't remember her name, but she just seemed extremely unbelievable to me as a person. Nothing about the actress and her performance. I just mean, like, the character itself seemed very, like, ridiculous to me. Like I know that there's, like, fanatics out there who become obsessed with serial killers or, whatever. And so it's, possible for someone to become obsessed with Jigsaw in the world of Saw, but she just seemed like a bit too crazy. Like, you're telling me that a working full-time woman has the time to rent out an evil lair and recreate the machines that Jigsaw made from random blueprints she got off the dark web. Yeah, whatever. I just whatever. This movie is, again, just whatever. I don't care for it. It's boring. And yeah. It also has some very mediocre traps. The gunshot one at the end. The lasers were a little silly. The final shot is kind of cool when, like, the Demogorgon type skull splitting situation, but it was just lasers. Okay. The initial bucket head one, I don't know what the official names for these traps are. I'm very sorry. I'll probably put pictures or something. That one was, again, whatever. And then the needle one in the beginning with Carly, yeah, just very subpar traps. Oh, the mill one where, like, things are falling down and they're, like, stuck. They're getting, like, buried alive. Again, just lame. Most of the traps in this one are lame. Yeah. On to the pros. Oh, I actually already talked about it. The twist was cool, but only at first. That's, like, the only positive thing I can say about this movie. I'm sure there are other things, maybe. I just can't think of them, and that's, like, the only thing I have written down on my notes, so sorry. Saw 3D. I could talk about this movie forever. Any movie that has any ounce of bigotry, it's on sight. I will call you out. Again, no shade to people who enjoy this movie, but I have, like, a very big pet peeve when people cannot, for the life of them, critique the things that they like. Like, I'm not saying you can't like this movie. I'm just saying you have to hold it accountable for where it goes wrong. And this movie goes wrong in a lot of ways. But most, unfortunately, in the fact that it is super misogynistic. So I listed all of the reasons why, but if you want a more in-depth analysis, I highly recommend watching Girl on Film's video essay. She discusses the Saw franchise through a feminist lens, and she goes further into why Saw 7 does not work on a feminist level, because it is just absolutely rampant with misogyny. Anyways, I love Girl on Film, highly recommend. I love that video essay. I'm just going to be sort of touching up on the surface the reason why I found it to be misogynistic. So first of all, Jill Tuck dies twice. We get her actual death scene in the bear trap and an imagined death scene, which was just very random and unnecessary. But in that imaginary death scene, she is wearing very minimal clothing. She's very exposed, and it's just like, what are we doing? Next, whenever she's seeking asylum, safety, and she's trying to get help from the police, they just call her crazy. And I'm like, ugh. ugh, men calling women crazy or hysterical will never not irk me. Anyways, next, the opening scene in this movie is one of Jigsaw's traps, and we have a woman mounted to the ceiling, and her breasts are very exposed and pushed up in a sort of provocative type of way, and that's just like, we've never had this issue in any previous Saw movies. And before you say there's a naked woman in Saw 3, they intentionally left her naked because they felt it looked more provocative when she had a shirt clinging to her and like water dripping down, and so they just decided to have her nude. She has very, realistic body. It's not anything that's like, she's like Kim Kardashian type situation, and there's no like lingering shots of her breasts or anything. So Saw 3 is not misogynistic. Thank you very much. Next, none of the women, absolutely zero of the women in this movie, are ever in a position where they can defend or save themselves. They all have to be saved or rescued by a man. Very, very yucky, if you ask me. And last but not least, the wife of Bobby, I'm forgetting her name, she, number one, is put into the traps, even though she had nothing to do with Bobby's schemes and lying, which is just totally unfair. And then number two, in her trap, she's forcefully put on her knees, tied up with a collar around her neck that is keeping her chained down. And if that is not irksome to you, I question your judgment, because that is just so blatantly misogynistic. Oh my god. Anyways, this movie is misogynistic and I don't like it. Okay, I'm back. I had to feed my cat. Moving on. This movie obviously has 3D in it. It's called Saw 3D. And the 3D shots are just silly. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be nitpicky or a hater, but like, if you're gonna make a movie 3D, make the 3D shots cool and memorable and fun, not goofy. There's like a shot, I think, where like a key just like is 3D for some reason. Like a key. Oh my lord. Okay. Next, lame cops, or a lame cop. I don't remember his name. He's that forgettable, but like the guy who calls Jill crazy. Bro, get out of here. You were so bad at your job. You were so forgettable. You were so lame. Like, I have, like, no attachment to this character at all whatsoever. There are so many good detectives or cops in this series, and then they give us this guy, and I'm just like, crickets, once again. Ugh. Lastly, Hoffman in this movie is a bit peculiar. I'm very 50-50 with how I feel about him. I don't hate him as a character concept or a villain, but I don't necessarily love him either, especially in this movie, because his beef with Jill just feels so unwarranted. I get that in the last movie, Saw 6, Jill tried to kill Hoffman, which I guess sort of, explains why he's going after her, but like, she was only following Jigsaw's orders, okay? Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm not as entertained with their feuding as I am with Hoffman versus Strom. Now that is good soup. I love to see that. But yeah, it's just the cop plot in this not nearly as engaging as the other movies, unfortunately. Moving on to the pros. While this movie is, like I said, very rampant with misogyny and just not as good in quality as the first 6, it's still pretty fun and rewatchable. This I could actually go back and rewatch on like 8 and 9. you would have to pay me to watch those again. I really just would skip those if I was doing a Saw marathon. But Saw 7 I would actually watch again. It's pretty fun. Okay, sorry, my cat was acting a fool again. Anyways, what did I just say? Oh yeah, it's rewatchable. That's always a plus. I love rewatching things. So, next, we finally get to see the bear trap in action. Unfortunately, it does go to Jill Tuck, but you know, if you've been tuning into this series, you have obviously seen the bear trap on numerous occasions, and this is the first time we actually get to see it in action. And it is a very cool death. Very sad that it goes to Jill once again, but hey, it's at least fun to see. Oh. I kind of already touched upon this, but, like I said, Hoffman he's kind of unhinged in this one, and I have this both listed on my cons and my pros. And here I said unhinged Hoffman is a fun flavor. It is, he's crazy, and it's fun to see, but it's just like his beef with Jill, just it's like, bro, get a job. Anyways, he's fun, he's not my favorite accomplice, but he's crazy, and you know, that makes for fun entertainment, so I'll give him that. I also have drippy Jigsaw on my pros because there's a scene where John goes to the book signing of Bobby, the guy who faked his Jigsaw encounter, and he's like wearing a baseball cap, and like he looks drippy, okay? And then last but not least, the final reveal at the end of Gordon having been an accomplice this entire time is pretty cool. Initially, I did not like this because it made me sad that, you know, another victim is yet again within Jigsaw's grasp, thrown into the world of murder and kidnapping. You know, it's not a fun time, but the more I thought about it, the more interesting and actually likable this ending became to me. Okay, sorry, I had a brain fart moment. Anyways, I did read some theories saying how he was involved or became an accomplice to sort of put a stop to Jigsaw, which I like that theory the most because him just being another Jigsaw makes me feel sad. I don't want that to be the reality, but I liked the idea of him getting involved with Jigsaw initially to, you know, sort of free Adam, avenge Adam in some sort of way, avenge himself even for having been through that terrible situation. And it makes sense to me that he stops Hoffman, because, like, otherwise he could have just, like, let him go, but he goes out of his way to put a stop to Hoffman. So I like the idea that he's avenging both himself and Adam, and that he originally got involved in exchange for freeing Adam, but then, you know, unfortunately Adam gets by Amanda, so... I know that low-key I might get flamed for this specific ranking because this has had a bit of a resurgence. People really, really like this one, and I can totally see why. I do really, really like this movie. 7, 8, and 9 I don't really like, but the rest of the Saw movies I do like or even love. And I do really like Saw 6. However, it is on the lower half of my ranking, because I just don't really click with it, especially in regards to the ending. That's what really cemented its spot in number 7 for me. I was very sad at the fact that they decided to kill the CEO guy, the insurance CEO guy, and I know what you're thinking, he was literally a greedy, greedy man who was screwing people over, and yes, but I think it would have been such a defining moment or such a stark contrast to Jigsaw and his ideologies if they had actually decided to give this guy a second chance and save him rather than giving him a taste of his own medicine. This is random, but I am reminded of one of my favorite Fiona Apple songs, Relay, where she sings about evil sort of continuing or spreading evil. Evil is a relay sport. You know, you pass it on to other people and it grows and grows and grows and continues. And it's just, you know, it's not healthy. And again, I don't blame the characters in this movie for wanting to get rid of this CEO guy. Like I said, he's been screwing people over, so it's not like I think people who like this type of ending are evil. I can see where they might find catharsis in this, but I just feel like in a general sense, it's not really good to seek out revenge or, you know, evening the score, because like when you do that, you sort of just like play into this continuous loop of violence and hatred and evil, and I just, you know, I don't think that's healthy for anyone. So yeah, for that reason, this movie is in the lower half for me. Also, contrary to popular opinion, I don't like the traps in this one. I think they're kind of lame. We have the steam room, whatever. We have the hanging, I think by like, what is it called? I don't remember what it's called. I'll probably put the word on the screen or something, but like that fence, like spiky fence. And then the carousel. I know the carousel is one of the most iconic traps in this franchise and people love it, but I don't care for it. I like it more in a drama type sense, you know, them fighting each other and having to be like, you don't even care about your children or whatever, I should live, blah, 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 blah. That aspect of it is interesting, and I guess that's why, part of the reason why people like it so much, but it doesn't do anything for me. I'm sorry. If you like that trap, though, I can see why. Like I said, it's not the worst trap out there. It's just not my favorite. I will say I'm just 50-50 on it. I can see why people like it, but at the same time, I'm just not that impressed by it. Back on the topic of the CEO guy. It was very interesting and I guess satisfying in a way to see someone who's been inflicting so much pain on others be a victim in the jigsaw tests or the traps or whatever. And that is unfortunately alongside just a guy who smokes. Like, you went out of your way to pick these scummy people, and then you also just threw in a smoker in there. Like, what? Those are not nearly on the same level. A guy who smokes and insurance, greedy, corporate scum. Like, oh my goodness. You completely just ruined it for me. Like, you had me and then you lost me, okay? And then last on my cons on this one, Perez's death. I feel like she died way too early. Like, why bring her back just to kill her again? I was really saddened by this because I think Perez is my favorite cop / agent / detective, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like I would have liked Saw 3D way more if they had kept Perez. They could have killed her in that one. I still would have been sad, of course, but like it would have felt a little bit more satisfying because we could have gotten more of her character. Whereas they just bring her back in this one, give her a couple lines, and then kill her again. I'm just like, what? She was my favorite, okay? Oh, Jesus. Alright, pros. Number 1, piranha. Yes. That is actually on the list. Next, again, I'm just reiterating what I already said. It was a cool decision to go after the insurance people. This is also just a very rewatchable and fun movie, and the cop plot is solid. It was fun to see the walls sort of closing in on Hoffman, pun intended. Seeing just like him sort of like be what's the word? Just like weary of everyone, suspicious because he knows they're close on his trail. That's fun. I liked it. But yeah, I'm sorry I put this at number 7. Please don't hate me. The last movie on the lower halves in 6th place is Saw 5. I was actually debating putting Saw 5 or Saw 10 Swooks in this spot. And again, I know that's like kind of an egregious take because people love Saw 10. But we'll get to why I didn't put Saw 10 here, but ultimately I decided to put Saw 5 here. And I think the biggest reason why is because this movie really does just feel like Strom recounting the plots of 3 and 4. It's basically just and here's what you missed on Glee sort of situation. But I love Strom so much that I don't care. And also I love the beef between Strom and Hoffman so much that again, I just don't care that this is basically just like a retelling of the previous 2 movies. But I did decide to put it lower just because I feel like in like a story sense, Saw X has a bit more merit to it than Saw 5. But I do love Saw 5, okay? I really do. But yeah, because it is, like I said, just a retelling, or, recounting the events of 3 and 4, it is a little bit forgettable. If you ask me to reiterate the entire plot of this movie, I low-key couldn't tell you. I think I just like this movie so much because Strom is in it, and I like Strom, he's a cool guy. Oh, another con, no Perez. Again, maybe her death in 6 would have been more gratifying if they had her in 5. But they don't. So, that's kind of... Oh, and then this one also has some silly traps in it. The collar one, the decapitation, I forget what that one is called, but that was just okay. The bathtub, gotta be one of the lamest traps ever. Oh, actually, even lamer than that, if you can believe it, is the jar one, the ceiling jar one with like the cellars that they have to hide in. No. That was just foolish. Yeah. There's not really too much to say about this movie, like I said, because it is just a retelling, but I still like it. The final death actually is like one of my favorite scenes in the entire franchise because we get this toxic yaoi blood cum shot. Well, yes. Yeah, that's just epic. I feel so sad. I'm so bad for Mr. Strom, but it does make for a very cool scene. This is something that I said whenever I was talking about Saw 3D, but the beef between Strom and Hoffman just feels so much more real and like actually like it makes more sense versus him beefing with Jill Tuck. While this also had some very silly traps, it also has some very cool traps, like the pendulum. I think that is my older sister's favorite trap. Pretty good pick, if I do say so. This one's a bit silly. This one you could say is a stupid trap, but I love this one, the water cube trap. It's just so funny. And Slade. He went, you know? The 10 pints of blood, that one makes me scream. If I was in that situation, ooh! And then the shot of the lady when she finds the cops who are there to rescue her and her arm is like, ooh, ooh. It's good soup. Oh, and then of course the glass coffin, which we've already discussed. And then last but not least, this is a little bit silly / random, but this might be a hot take. I don't remember his name, but I like that one guy who survives. He gives me Jesse Pinkman vibes. I don't know what it is, okay? And if me from 5 years ago, low-key, heard me saying this, she'd probably have a stroke, because going into Breaking Bad, I really did not care for Jesse Pinkman. I was like, fuck this guy. He says slurs. He's a bit of an asshole. But, like, I have now come to learn that people are multifaceted. And just because they do one bad thing doesn't mean they're evil entirely. It's the black and white autism and OCD thinking. I'm sorry. But I've learned, okay? Grown. So I like Jesse Pinkman, and this guy kind of reminds me of Jesse Pinkman, so I kind of like him. Also, I find the concept interesting of someone who's done such bad things having to survive the situation, and it's like, what now? Has he paid for his crimes by having gone through Jigsaw's test? Or does he need further punishment by going to jail? Like, I feel like that's an interesting conversation. So yeah. And also, the other lady who survives, she's very pretty. I don't know. She's just pretty. That's always nice. Okay, that's it. Cons. Mexico filter. Why is this a thing? Ugly Betty, Teen Wolf, Breaking Bad, and now this. Why do we always put this yellow dingy filter anytime we're filming in what's supposed to be Mexico? Mexico doesn't look like that, guys. I've been, okay? I promise you, it does not look like that. It's just so silly. Okay, now a real flaw. Something a bit more serious. The first half of this movie kind of drags. And that might just be because John Kramer is not my guy, you know. He's not my favorite villain out there. He is a very compelling character, but I'm just not rooting for him, okay? And also he's just like, he's crazy. He's not funny or, you know, something. If we're talking about villains that I love, like, I'm not rooting for them because, again, they're villains, but, like, a villain that's like, that's my girl, that's my homegirl. We're talking about, I forgot his name for a second. Mr. Count Olaf. That guy is funny as hell. At least, the one from the Netflix series. I haven't seen any of the other versions, but him from there, oh my god. Hilarious. I stan. Don't tell anyone, but I stan. He's funny. Jigsaw, on the other hand, I don't stan. If I see you, it's on sight, okay? Which I do like. I like to hate a villain too, but it's also fun to, like, kind of be besties with a villain because, like, he's just so funny. I love Count Olaf, and I love A Series of Unfortunate Events. One of my favorite shows of all time. Go watch. Moving on. The first half of this drags, and I think it is partly just because Jigsaw's not my favorite character ever. But it's not the worst. It's still enjoyable. It's just, I'm taken a little bit out of it because it's like, we see this traumatic thing happening to John Kramer, and it's just like, sorry, bro, like, deserved. After what you did to Adam, my bestie, Adam, deserved. Yeah, those are really the only flaws. It's a really good movie. I just, I don't care for Jigsaw too much, so. I guess we can throw in Amanda's wig into the cons. It looks kind of goofy. I'm sorry, Queen. Now pros. I love Cecilia as a villain. She's so cool and so evil. And again, if I saw her, it would be on sight. But yeah, she's just an interesting character. I do like her addition to this movie. She really sells it. This is more of a production type pro or thing that I enjoyed. I learned that they hired local actors, which is very nice. I don't know where they filmed this, but they hired actual actors from Mexico to play these Mexican characters, which is nice. Again, like I said. Oh, some of these traps haunt me. I think about them and I'm just like, ooh. Some of the best traps. Low-key, I think one of my all-time favorite traps in this entire franchise is gonna be the bone marrow leg trap. Ooh. I think about that one randomly, just like all the time, because I'm like, oh my god, Jesus Christ. That was hard to watch. Genuinely. Like, ooh. I do love that trap. And the brain one? Yikes-a-munga. Ooh, girl. I low-key can't remember what the other girl's trap was. Gabby's trap was. I think I didn't like hers that much, though. And then the trap that the little kid and Jigsaw had to go through, that was pretty cool, too. Not my favorite, but it's pretty decent. But yeah, the leg one, oh, I think about it to this day. I don't really have that much thoughts on Saw 10. I liked it, but just not my favorite. It does, however, cross into the upper half of this list because it's a very solid movie. And I feel more memorable than Saw 5, which is why I put it higher on this list. Anyways. Saw 3. I was actually about to put this one in the third slot, but upon thinking about it some more, I decided to put it in the fourth slot. And I think ultimately it just boils down to the fact that I love Saw 4 way more than I love Saw 3. And it's really nothing to do with Saw 3. Saw 3 is really good, but I just really love Saw 4 because my queen and my king, Strom and Perez, are in it. But Saw 3. Everyone says this anytime they talk about this movie. Jeff is too damn slow. Oh my goodness. Like, sir, you have to save your daughter, your remaining daughter. You already lost one kid, you don't want to lose another. Pick up the pace. Oh my goodness. It's just so silly. Yeah. Next, Allison, the cop, dies way too soon. I really liked her character, especially in the second movie. So it's really devastating that she ends up dying so early in this franchise. And also, while we're at it, I'm just gonna say her death, while it is very sad and I feel a bit too early, is one of the coolest traps. The angel trap. That's sick. But just like, ow. Ooh, ow. But yeah, I like that trap a lot. At least she gets a cool death, but man, it was very frustrating to see her go that early. Those are the only cons. Now that we're into the upper half, there's like barely any cons that I have for these, and we're just gonna be talking about the things that I did like. So like I said, some really cool deaths in this one. The angel trap and the rack. Ooh, easily the worst trap in this entire franchise. I don't think it's my favorite trap, but I do think, like, objectively, this is the worst trap. Like, you don't want to be in this trap. Ooh, no. I like the idea of testing someone by trying to get them to forgive the people who have wronged them. Mr. Jigsaw, I think you need to take a page out of your own book. Instead of putting people in these traps, maybe try forgiveness. Oh, very ballsy to kill Jigsaw so early on. I do think this was actually just because Leigh Whannell, the original writer of the first 3 movies, wanted to end it after this movie. So like his death would have been at the end of the franchise, but they decided to keep going. But I still think it was a ballsy choice to have him die at the hands of a victim too. Pretty interesting to me. I think it's crazy though. I'm like, you died not from your brain cancer, which you were so obsessed about. Like, that's kind of funny if you really think about it. Same thing with like Walter White. Oh, I might have to cut that. Oh, Lynn. She's very cool. I like her a lot. Another interesting character that I just enjoy to have. I like how she plays with Amanda's character. It makes for some very interesting scenes and dynamics. And of course, the biggest pro about this movie is just Amanda. She is so freaking amazing. She makes for such an amazing and interesting accomplice because there's such how do I say this? You can see that there's such an internal struggle going on within her. I think a lot of people say that she is the accomplice that is most dedicated to John's philosophy, but I honestly don't think that's true. I feel like she's subscribed to this philosophy because she doesn't really know what else to do with herself after she's endured so much pain. It's sort of like you've got nowhere else to go. This is sort of all you can do. I'm low-key, it sounds like I'm talking out of my butt, and I kind of am. But like, I don't think she fully subscribes to his ideology, because you can see in this movie, there's a scene where she engages in self-harm because she's very sad at having to put people through the same thing that she's had to go through. She ends up killing Adam. She ends up making Allison's trap inescapable, and the other trap, the one with the all of the chains, also was inescapable because she doesn't want people to survive so that they don't have to live with the pain that they've endured, which very clearly says to me that she is not fully subscribed to Jigsaw's ways. So that to me just makes her really interesting because she's still going out of her way to protect him, to be by his side, to care for him, and yet she's struggling so much with, fully being on his side. So yeah, it's just a very cool movie in terms of character study. And yeah, it's very fantastic writing from my king, Mr. Leigh Whannell. We're heading into the top 3 now. In 3rd place, we have Saw 4. I love this movie. I don't think it gets enough respect or love. Like, you guys are sleeping on Saw 4. I'm sorry, but you are. My one big flaw with this movie is that I would have liked to see them utilize Eric Matthews' character just a little bit more. I feel like maybe it would have been slightly more interesting if they had put Eric's character in the architect, or is he a lawyer? I don't remember. I think his name is Art. I don't know. I'll put a picture of him on screen or something. If they had swapped roles, maybe. But if just he had been the one to have to put people through the tests in order to, get out of his own test. Just because it would have been more interesting in seeing his character have to because he is a cop, having to put these people in these situations. And I just feel like him being stuck on that ice cube the whole time, it really, like, what was the point of keeping him alive this whole time? I guess it serves as like an end goal for Riggs, but it just ultimately ends up sort of leaving his character arc open. You know, we don't really get much closure in that sense. So yeah, that makes me a little bit disappointed. But other than that, I love this movie. I just mentioned Riggs, underrated baddie. Why don't people talk about him more? He's literally so cool, and he's been here since the second movie. No, wait, I don't know, first or the second. I think the second. Yeah, the second movie. And he's just really cool. I love him. What else? This has some of the most consistent traps. Like, almost all of the traps in this movie are... I dropped my pen. Almost all of the traps in this movie are awesome. Especially the traps that Riggs is involved with. The scalping, the metal rods, the bedroom trap, with the eye limb situation thing, and the ice cube crush at the end. Epic. Sad that, you know, again, we don't get to see more of Matthews, but an epic kill if you do ask me, if I do say so myself. So yeah, this movie, in my opinion, has some of the most cool traps back to back to back to back. It is one of the most interesting twists, in my opinion, also. The fact that this movie is happening simultaneously at the same time as Saw 3. Totally did not see that coming, like, at all. And then, considering that this is where Leigh Whannell decided to leave the franchise, it's pretty impressive that this doesn't really dip in quality, in my opinion. We get some cool character study moments on Riggs and his, you know, desire to save as many people as he can, to save everyone, and how that ends up being his demise. And yeah, I just feel like this is consistent with the third one. It picks up right where I left off, and it has my favorite cop plot. We finally get introduced to Strom and Perez, and ooh, I was waiting for it because I love them. I love them so much. They're just baddies, and I just love this movie, and I feel like people sleep on it. Saw 2, one of the best sequels to any movie I've ever seen. It ups the ante, you know, it keeps you thoroughly engaged. It's a really awesome character study. Those are my favorite types of movies. Movies that really hone in on a character and explore all of their crooks and crannies. Nooks and crannies. Crooks and crannies. Nooks and crannies. Okay. Sorry. But it's just a really awesome sequel. There is one thing that I have listed on my cons list, and that is that I would have preferred that this movie followed Allison rather than Eric Matthews, because we just sort of randomly meet Eric Matthews, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I do find his character interesting, but I'm just not as attached to him as I am to Allison, because we've already been with Allison for the first movie. And also, she's just a baddie. Like, why are we getting corrupt cop Matthews and not baddie cop Allison? Like, she was right there. And, like, the movie makes it a point to tell you that she's obsessed with Jigsaw. She's been following this case for a long time. Like, she's involved. Why didn't we follow her then? Like, what? It was a little bit silly. Okay. It's a silly decision. We could have had Matthews still, but, like, I feel like it just would have been more enjoyable if we had Allison take the lead instead. But other than that, this movie slaps, okay? It's awesome. Like I said, cool character study on Jigsaw. We get so much screen time and get to hear him talk and just see the inner workings of his mind. That fool's crazy. Ooh, that's crazy. I will say, this is kind of random, if I was in Eric Matthews' position and my test was to just talk to Jigsaw, I would have slayed. You know, I don't like that man, but like, I would have listened to him, okay? You just have to follow his rules. And then boom, I would have passed the test, I'm just saying. Anyways, this has a really cool twist. Amanda being a mole, she's, you know, an accomplice at this point. What else? Ooh, excuse me. I'm very burpy all of a sudden. Speaking of Amanda, it's cool to find out that she was actually the one involved and she's going to be carrying the torch from here on out, but it's also just really devastating. Another devastating moment also that I can think of is the needle pit scene. At first I was like, why are people scared of that so much? Like, I don't like needles either, but like, I feel like it's not the worst trap to be in. Then I was like, oh wait, she's a drug addict. She has like trauma surrounding needles and she gets thrown into a pit of them. Oh, that's fucked up. Yeah, silly me. Sorry guys, I get it now. But like, on a personal level, if I was thrown in there, obviously I wouldn't have a blast, but like, it wouldn't be the worst thing. But like, Amanda being thrown in there, oh, that's really devastating now, isn't it? Again, speaking of the traps, we have some iconic traps, like the Venus flytrap, the needle pit, and the razor box. I think the razor box is probably my favorite from this movie. Nasty. Alright. That's all I can say for Saw 2. It ups the ante. It's Saw 1, but, you know, more people, more stakes. It's crazy. Last but not least, my absolute favorite Saw movie is Saw. The original. A lot of people have it in first place, and it is for a reason. This movie is iconic. Absolute game changer. I actually decided, I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I decided to watch Saw on a whim, and it was because I was watching Community at the time, and one of my favorite characters, actually my favorite character from Community is Abed, and he's obsessed with movies, and at one point he ends up info dumping to this woman about the Saw franchise and how they absolutely redefined the gore genre, and I was like, are you spitting facts, Abed? What's going on? Let me see for myself. And so thanks to Mr. Abed, I decided to check it out for myself, and I fell in love with horror all over again. So thank you, Abed, and thank you, Lee Winnell and James Wan, for creating such a fantastic movie. Oh my god, it's so good. It slaps. The editing, the lighting, the music, the visuals, everything. The whole aesthetic about the movie is just so fun. It's so fun. It's so fun. It has one of the most iconic twists ever. John Kramer is Jigsaw. He's the patient that we see when Gordon is yapping. He was on the floor the whole time. Oh my goodness. So crazy, so crazy. It has really great pacing. I like the way that they fluctuate between, you know, the scenes in the bathroom, the trap, and then revealing how they got there, each of their backstories, you know, some of the history on Jigsaw and what he's been up to. It's so good. It's so good. And I think one of the most crucial elements of this movie, I think one of the strongest things about this movie is the fact that we end up caring so much for our two protagonists, Adam and Lawrence. The other movies, we have plenty and plenty of victims to go through, but I feel like none of them make you care quite as much for the victims as the first movie. You really do root for Adam and Gordon to make it out, and it is heartbreaking when we see Adam gets left in the bathroom. That just, It breaks my heart every time thinking about it. I love Adam so much. It's like he's such a simple character, but he's written so well with such, little screen time. You can't help but want to root for the guy. He's just a silly Billy. He really truly did not deserve it. And like I said, I've been hyperfixating on this franchise for a little while now, and I've done quite a bit of digging into the production, and I ended up finding the original script, and there are moments in there that reveal more about Adam's character. It just breaks my heart even more. Oh my god. If you are as big of a Saw fan as I am, I would highly suggest looking for that original script, because like I said, you get to learn more about Adam, and it just makes the movie even more painful than it already is. So yeah, I love this movie. It's so awesome. One of the other things I have on my list here is it feels very similar to the original Texas Chainsaw in that while it is technically a gore movie, there's not really a lot of blood, but you really feel it. Like, you don't ever see Gordon chopping off his foot, but just the cutting back and forth between him sawing and his anguished face really makes you feel it, similar to the hook scene in Texas Chainsaw. It's just peak filmmaking, and I really gotta hand it to James Wan. Another thing that was pointed out to me that I didn't realize while watching, but now that I know, I'm like, oh my god, so awesome, is James Wan decided to make all of Adam's shots handheld, so they're very shaky, because it shows his character, how he's, very, rebellious and spunky, and Gordon's shots are, I don't know exactly how they filmed it, but they're more steady as he's more focused and calm. And I think that was a very cool decision. And yeah, some iconic traps. It's just an iconic movie, what can I say? We get the bathroom trap, the I don't remember what he's going through, but the razor fence trap, the man who was depressed and cutting himself, who somehow made the criteria for person who needs to get tested. His trap, that's a gnarly one. And then of course the bear trap. Who doesn't love the bear trap? And I did say that I would include my ranking of where I would put Saw 0.5. I didn't put it officially on the list. I'm only doing 10 through 1, not 1 through 11. But if I were to put Saw 0.5, the short film, on this list, it would go either hand in hand with Saw, the original, or right behind it, before Saw 2, because I love it that much. Very much gives the same vibes and aesthetic as the first one, and it's nicely shot for the short budget that they had. Like I said, very similar to the original. David is hot. Adam's hot too, but David, ooh, I'm free every day of the week. Okay, let me shut up. Billy has a hat. Who doesn't love that? That's so cute. Billy in a hat. And the ending scene of the first Saw, you have Adam's iconic scream, of course. If you think that scream is iconic, go watch Saw 0.5. It's available on YouTube. His scream in that is even more iconic. I love Lee Winnell. Thank you so much. Oh, last thing I gotta say about Saw. The dialogue. It's so good. It's so funny. It's so funny. Oh my god, I love Adam. 15 hooker gangbang, covered yourself in peanut butter. very fucking confused. Oh my god. I love him. I love him. He's so funny. I feel so bad. Oh, he's alive, guys. He's alive. He's coming back for Saw 11. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. So that has been my official Saw ranking. Please feel free to leave your ranking down below and tell me what you agree with, what you disagree with. Just be respectful and don't be an arsehole. Please, pretty please. Yeah, I had fun making this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I've just been wanting to film videos for a long time because I have a lot of free time and I love to just yap. And I'm really into horror movies lately and I have no one to talk to about it because no one really likes horror movies that much, at least not to the extent that I like them. I'm obsessed, like I said. I've been hyperfixating. I can't stop thinking about horror movies. I'm thinking of doing my ranking of the Halloween movies next because I've seen almost all of them. I only have one left and it's Halloween 2009, Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie one. So yeah, I'm really interested in doing my ranking of those movies because I feel like my list here is a little bit controversial, but not too controversial, I feel like. But my my Halloween ranking so far is quite controversial. I'll give you a sneak peek. I'll give you like a little... The last Halloween movie, Halloween Ends, is number 2 for me. Don't tell anyone, guys. I will explain why in that video when I eventually make it. But yeah, if that take isn't enough to shock you, I don't know what's gonna shock you at this point, but people hate that movie and I kind of like that movie. Anyways, thank you for watching again. If you are a friend of mine or you know me in real life and you're watching this and you found it cringe, please don't tell me. I don't need to know, okay? Keep that thought to yourself. Okay, yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you again for watching. I don't know when I'll be back, when the next video is going to be. Hopefully soon, but we'll see. Okay, bye-bye.